So, if you're like me and you can't cornrow your hair to save your life and you've been dying to stitch in cornrow braid thingy right here, then this video is definitely for you. This is a very simple and easy tutorial or video. I don't know how I got this long, but it's very easy to do. I got this hairstyle done in 2.5 hours, which is literally the least amount of time I've spent doing my own hair since I started doing my hair myself 2-3 years ago. And I think I'm going to be sticking to styles as such because this finished so quickly. So I'm going to be showing you like the materials that I use just as the video goes on, so make sure you watch everything till the end without skipping any part. Obviously, start off with freshly washed hair. My hair was just blow dried. I used this steam blow dry, which I reviewed in the video just before this one. So my hair is nice and stretched out. So you're going to start off by splitting your hair in two. I use two gels, a soft gel and hard gel. Now the soft gel, I use that Madam Jackie's curl gel. It is for curls, but I know that gel doesn't flake, which is why I used it. I just wanted my hair to stay moisturized under, and I did not use a lot of gel for this hairstyle. I was not going for really like a very sleek look. I just wanted my hair to stay moisturized, which is why I used the soft gel under, then the hard gel, which like I said I didn't use a lot, on top, just to do a little bit of molding, which I did not do much of anyway. I just wanted like clean parts, not too sleek, right? The next thing you're going to do is you're going to section off the front, and you're just going to keep this front aside. We're not going to touch this front. We're not going to create any ponytails with this front. This is going to be like our fake start, in quotes, for our cornrows. So you really need to have, it's just a tiny piece of hair, not a lot. You just need to make like that triangle, and you're just going to keep that aside. Up next, you're just going to start sectioning the rest of your hair. So I did a total of 5 ponytails for the rest of my hair. You can do more if you want like the proper stitch in look, but I did 5. Like I said, I was just going for like a quick hairstyle, nothing too serious. I just wanted like a little bit of sleekness for the ponytails, but not too much. I didn't put much gel, honestly. So I used the soft gel here at the start, used some rubber bands to tie it. Then I took a bit of the hard gel just to sleek the part a bit more, just the edges of the part. Nothing too crazy, like I said. So the first part I did from like ear to ear. Then I was just, not doing much. I was eyeballing like the parts, like the sizes. I was not doing too much. And this 3-way mirror, it did help, but I ended up having like another mirror at the back just so I could see everything properly. And then I did try my best to like comb the gel through. I wasn't really going for sleekness or too much molding. I just wanted to be able to hold my hair together and let my hair shine. That's all I was doing. I'm not trying to do like very high tension hairstyles anymore because they just tire my hair out and I start getting headaches. And these are all the parts. This is how everything looked like. Like I said, I had 5 parts or 5 ponytails. So I'm just grabbing the first ponytail right there, splitting it into 3, and hopefully you know how to do like a very bad, in quote, cornrows. Just cornrow it as much as you can. You're basically just plaiting it down. Even if it doesn't look neat, that is fine. Keep going. What I was saying this part is that you should try to make it as small as possible. Make sure the cornrows are as small as possible. You can do that by cornrowing tightly or making sure your hair is really blow dried, that it is very thin, so that the cornrows that you make are going to be very small as well. You want to have small cornrows, small messy cornrows, if I should say. So this is what it should look like when you're done. I did end up redoing this cornrow because it was too big, but this is how your hair should be looking. And obviously everything that we've done just now, we're going to do the exact same thing on the other side, and I'm just going to fast forward through it but still show you everything that I did, starting off with the front. Then I'm just going to be linking up the lines from the other side as much as I can, and then sectioning everything off again. So as this video goes on, obviously I'm going to tell you guys what to do and what not to do while you're making this hairstyle. This was my first time doing it, and there's some things that I wish I didn't do or would have done them differently. So I'm going to be telling you guys about that as well. But for now, I'm just going to let you guys watch the entire process, and then I'm going to meet you back. So when I got to the front, at some point I decided to use this got to be free spray that I got because I wanted it a bit more sleeker just for the front, but that did not do anything. So don't even bother. Don't even think about using it. Use your regular gel. If you want it to be a bit more sleeker, the got to be spray didn't really do anything. I thought it was going to like keep my hair nice and down, but yeah, it did not do anything. So as you can see here, this second cornrow that I made, it was a bit smaller than the first one. So I went ahead and I redid the first one that I did just so it's a bit smaller. So I just made it a bit tighter. So this is what it's looking like. Honestly, just like this, it looks my hair looks a bit neat and I really like it. Like, see how my face is looking snatched? Sorry. For the tails, I just wove them back into the cornrows and that's it. I didn't sew anything. I didn't tie anything. I just wove them back upwards into the cornrows, and that's where that ended. I didn't do anything else with it because, like I said, low tension hairstyles, I'm not trying to do too much. So here's our star of the show, Brazilian wool. I use literally 250 grams of Brazilian wool for this hairstyle, which is another best part of this hairstyle because it's cheap. 2 Brazilian wools and you are done. You've got hair ready, and you do it under 2.5 hours on yourself, and you can use this hair for like 2-3 weeks, which I think is really good. It's way too good, honestly. Right, so I just wrapped my Brazilian wool around my chair till I was done, and I made it a bit like very long because I didn't want like straggling ends. Brazilian wool, you really can't blend the ends the same way you can do with braiding hair, so that's why I made mine really long. You can make it to the length that you want because I really wanted long braids. Okay, so if you don't have a chair, use your toes. I did that when I was doing like my butterfly braids using Brazilian wool. You can go ahead and do that. Hook one to one end of your big toe and wrap the same thing. This is me. I just sectioned the hair. I did them in strands of 2, 3, then 5, then just went on to odd numbers 5, 7, 9, 11. I was just doing the strands like that, just so the strands were from like big to small. And I don't remember the number of parts I did or number of pieces I had, but I was just doing them starting from like 2 strands to 3, then 5, odd numbers, just like I said. So this is me without our little piece at the front. I just applied some gel section of a tiny piece at the front. Then I'm just doing, hopefully you can do like a bit of cornrowing just for the front, yeah? Okay, so I just did a bit of cornrowing without the Brazilian wool. I think I did it about a bit 5 times maybe. I don't know, just do it number of times that just in case you're scared of losing your front hair. I don't want attachment on the front hair. Do that for that number of times. So I started by picking off like the 2 braids. I braided it in. I'm just feeding in the 3 strands now. Then we're going on to the 5 strands. So I'm just picking up strands and I'm picking them up from my right side. And every time I braid once, or every time I braid twice or cornrow twice, I pick up a strand. So hopefully you can see what I'm doing. I will say that you should probably start with like 3 strands, then go up to 5, then 7, then 9. I'm saying that because you will want your beginning to be bulky because we've got to fluff it up anyway. And if the beginning is bulky, it is going to be fluffed up. But my start of my cornrow was not that fluffy because I started with like very few strands of braids, and I had to be careful fluffing up at the beginning because it has more of my natural hair, and I didn't want my natural hair to be like exposed or show like that. So I would say you should start with a lot of Brazilian wool, like 3 strands, or even start with the 5 strands, just so that it is bigger at the beginning. Okay, that's just like an extra. That's something that if I were to do this style again, which I'll definitely do, that's what I'm going to change. So I just cornrowed until I got to like the end of the extra hair that I left out, and then I started my regular braiding. Now I'm going to say you should braid tightly, especially where your natural hair is. Braid very tightly because you want to keep that hair covered. I will be using gel. You're going to see me using gel to like smooth out the natural hair to like the Brazilian wool, just so that it stays down. And I'm just going to keep doing like regular braiding. So that's like the highest number of cornrowing that you need to do, just in that small piece right there. And the rest you're just going to braid and try to cover your braiding hair as much as you can. And we're just going to braid down the entire thing, and then I'm going to show you guys what to do next. Now, when I got to like halfway of my braid, I just used like a tiny rubber band to like hold it in place so it doesn't unravel quickly. And here I started fluffing up the Brazilian wool from like the bottom to the top. I tried to make the cornrow really big because the braiding very big, because obviously it's got to cover up the cornrow that I did. So make sure you fluff it up very big, or if you don't want to fluff it up very big, make sure that your cornrow on your head is very small, because we're doing all of this just to cover up our fake or not so good cornrow. All of this is in quotes. So I just fluffed up my hair until it became very big, and at some point as I was fluffing it out, my natural hair got out, so I'm just using the crochet hook here to bring it back in. Now, when I say fluff out, I just mean pulling the edges of like your braid apart. It's like making like butterfly braids or jungle braids. So just fluff it out to be very big. You can make it like it should be like a loose braid, but and not too jungle looking like. Honestly, it just depends on you. You can do whatever you want at this point. You can make the braid very big. You can attach more hair just so it's a very big braid, and then you fluff out the edges a lot or just a bit. Like I said, it's up to you. And here I'm just fluffing it out very carefully because I was trying not to catch my natural hair, which I actually did catch my natural hair. In the final videos you'll probably see it, but it did not bother me too much anyway. So I just kept going, and I made sure that it covered my hair. Honestly, I started doubting myself at this point because I was like, what if this thing doesn't cover properly? Which it did not cover properly, and because my cornrow at the bottom was a bit too big and the attachment hair that I made was not big enough, which is why I had to try to fluff it even harder, even while I had attached the entire braid to the hair. So yeah, make sure that your cornrow at the start, your ugly cornrow at the start in quotes, it is very small, and the braid that you're making with the Brazilian wool is very big. That's all I'm saying. So whatever I've done on one side, I'm just going to repeat the exact same thing on the other side. Like I said, make sure you start with like 3 strands of Brazilian wool, then you go on to 5. Just make sure it is very big. It starts off very big at the start. So I'm just going to let you guys watch, and then I'll be back. I really should have given this warning when we're doing the Brazilian wool wrapping, but just know that if you are going to make a Brazilian wool very long, you are going to run into some issues which may or may not involve the hair tangling, and that is going to stress you out. So make sure you do the length that you're comfortable enough to work with. Now, moving on, I'm just using like a plastic darning needle here, or a plastic needle. I am a crocheter, so I just use like my crochet darning needle to do this next part, because I am a very clumsy person, and I knew that if I was going to use a regular needle, I was going to hurt myself. So I'm using the Brazilian wool itself as my thread, and I just created a loop to attach it, and I'm going to push that needle to the very front from where the cornrow ends and the ponytail starts, and I'm going to sew it down from there. So If you do not have a plastic darning needle, please get one. If not, use a curving needle, or if you have got very good hands and you're not clumsy like me, use a regular needle, But I know myself. I know me, it would have been a disaster. So I am just sewing everything down, attaching everything together, making sure it's all nice and straight and the cornrow under is actually being covered. I can literally not see what I'm doing. I'm not even joking. I'm just using my hands to like feel where the cornrow is underneath, and then I'm placing the braid that directly on top, and I'm sewing it down. And I'm sewing it in a way that I don't touch the part that I fluffed out, because I don't want the fluffed out part to be tied down. So my needle goes into the middle of the braid and then into the cornrow at the bottom. I did not even do a lot of sewing. I think I did like probably 12 stitches or 10 stitches of sewing in this, because I was just placing everything there. I did not want it to be like too firm. I was not doing too much, which is literally the best part of making this whole head. I was not trying to create tension on my hair. I was not trying to waste any time. I was just going, okay? Hopefully everything I'm explaining makes sense. And if you have any questions, just ask them down in the comment section. I will be answering. This was my first time doing it, but I'll definitely do it again with like, I don't know if I should say a better tutorial, but I don't know if I'm going to do another tutorial on this, but just ask me any questions down in the comment section. So this is what it looked like when I was done sewing. Then I just created like a loop and then passed the needle back to where I created the loop. Then I made like a knot to tie everything together, and that was literally it. Okay, that was it. I just took a scissors and then I cut that out very carefully, very gently, because I was not trying to cut out like the fluffed parts that I had just made, and that was a very sharp scissors, so I cut my ear off or my hair. So you can definitely still fluff out the braid while you have sewed it on, which is what I did because I wanted it to cover the cornrows very well. This is me still pulling it apart. It was coming out almost like, I don't know if I should call it a fishtail braid. I don't know the names of these things, but I was just pulling it apart. And this is what one side looked like. I just went ahead and I did the other side, obviously. And I did not fluff out this side as much because I just wanted to see like the difference. Did I want like the very fluffed out look or not? So I ended up just so also you guys can see what it'll look like. One part not too fluffed out and the other part very fluffed out. So that's what both sides were looking like. And I just finished the ends, took the rubber band off that I used to secure, and then I just braided down very, very loosely towards the end, and that made the braid even bigger when I fluffed it out. So yeah, that was basically it. When I got to the bottom, I just used like the braiding hair, the Brazilian wool braiding hair, to tie the bottom, and then I cut off the excess, and that was literally it. Tie off the bottom and then cut it off. At the place that I tied off, I ended up using like this gold clips to like clip it to cover the side, so you can try that as well if you don't want like the tying you don't want to see the tying there. So this is me just fluffing again back to the top. This was before tying, by the way, so I just fluffed it up to make it bigger, and this is me actually tying it right now. So I wrapped it a lot. I made like a very long tie, and then I just took a scissors and I cut off the remaining hair, and this is what it looks like. Like I said, in the place that I tied, I put like gold clips on it just to cover up the tie. And this is me literally repeating the same thing on the other side. I don't know how this video got too long. Why is it so long? 22 minutes of saying what? Anyway, yeah, I repeated the same thing on the other side. It is honestly so weird for me to make this video tutorial on how to do this hairstyle, because at the start of this year I told myself that I was going to be making hairstyles that only involved Brazilian wool and curly hair to do my hair. Then sometime in the middle of this year, not in the middle, like in the quarter of this year, I told myself that I'm getting tired of braiding my hair. I hate braiding my hair. I did a whole video about it, and I told myself that it was going to be my high pop, my natural hair
against the world and my natural hair hype off against the world. But then I realized that I actually got bored of it because I'm a creative person and I like to try things out. And yeah, I did not end up sticking to that. And this is me again doing my hair. So I will be doing other hairstyles which don't take long. Highest 3 hours. I want my hair done in 3 hours, nothing more, because I used to take 8 hours to do my hair, even more. And I do like doing my hair myself, but if someone was out there to do my hair for 3 hours sitting someone's chair, I'm not even joking, because to go through all of this, it is a lot of work. It is a lot of work to get your hair done, but I like trying out new things. And I'm a DIY person myself, so I don't know how to reconcile those parts of myself. It is hard. And to tie this entire look together, I was really going off topic. I just got some curls and I crocheted it into the hair, just like you saw me do while I was ranting. Then one piece, I just moved it to like the back, and then took that piece, separated it, and moved it to the middle. It just took a bit of mechanics to do this. And I repeated the same thing on the other side. I put the gel on my hair, and everything was tied together. Everything was done, and I really like the way this look turned out. Honestly, this is my first time doing two cornrows. I used to be so scared to do it because I felt like my natural hair was too bulky for this, but this was a cheat, and I love this type of cheats. It was so good, and I just cut off like all the very long strands, and this is how my hair turned out. Tell me what you think. Are you going to try this? Um, Tell me how long it took you for you to get this done on your own self, or if you're doing it on someone else. Is it really worth it? And it was worth it for me, which is what matters. And I'm definitely going to be doing this hairstyle over and over again. The hairstyle was cheap. It took a very short amount of time to get it done. And yeah, so that's it. If you have any questions, ask them down in the comment section. Subscribe if you haven't yet. Thank you so much for watching, and I'm going to see you in my next video. Make sure you check out the other ones as well. Bye.